Hello, today we will be talking about comparative advantage. So what is comparative advantage? Well, according to the textbook definition, comparative advantage is an economy's ability to produce a particular good at a lower opportunity cost than its trading partners. So in simpler terms, comparative advantage is all about opportunity cost, and whoever has the lower opportunity cost between two entities has the comparative advantage. Comparative advantage is good for everyone because everyone benefits from this, as this can lead to greater profits, higher selling margins, efficiency, and better quality of product overall. Overall, it benefits everybody as it can lead to gains in trade. So, how do you determine who has the comparative advantage? Let's say you have two friends, Jamie and Helen, arguing over who should vacuum the house and who should make a meal. Let's say it takes Jamie 4 hours to vacuum the house and 1 hour to make a meal, and Helen 4 hours to vacuum the house and 2 hours to make a meal. How do we determine who has the comparative advantage? We find the opportunity cost. So if you remember, we calculate the opportunity cost by dividing one test by the other, and from this, we, we, we can see that Jamie's opportunity cost to vacuum the house is 4 meals, and Helen's is 2. Jamie's opportunity cost to make a meal is a quarter of vacuum the house, and Helen's is half of the house. So from this, we can see that Helen's opportunity cost is lower for vacuuming the house, as she only has to sacrifice 2 meals, and Jamie's opportunity cost for making a meal is lower, as Jamie only has to sacrifice vacuuming a quarter of the house. So from this, we get that Jamie has a comparative advantage in making a meal, and Helen has a comparative advantage in vacuuming the house. So if both of them were to do what they have a comparative advantage in, they would both benefit from this, as it would save them both a bunch of time. So the last example that we just did was on a much smaller scale for individuals. Comparative advantage is much more seen in international trade, as comparative advantage is what drives international trade. Some sources of comparative advantage in international trade is as follows. First one being abundant inputs, which is the exploitation of a resource a country happens to have much of. Take Canada, for example. In Canada, there's wood everywhere. Therefore, Canada has an abundant input of timber, giving them the comparative advantage in the production of timber. The second source is specialized skill, which is building upon past innovations in a particular product line to maintain a comparative advantage. For example, Switzerland is known for its Swiss watches, and their high quality. This is because Switzerland has made so many of these watches that they've become really good at them and are known for this, giving them the comparative advantage. Finally, we have mass production, which is achieving efficiencies by making a product so many times that you become really good at it. For example, Japan has mass produces cars, and they've made so many of these that they've become really efficient at them and can produce these really fast at a really cheap price, giving them the comparative advantage. Now let's look at a real world example. Recently, the world has been experiencing a semiconductor and chip shortage caused by COVID-19. The reason for this is because semiconductors and chips are only produced in a handful of countries like Singapore, Taiwan, and South Korea. This has led many people to question, why don't we produce it in all countries, and that every country should produce their own semiconductor and chips? Well, the reason for this is because of specialized skill and mass production that the other countries that produce it have, giving them a huge comparative advantage in this market, allowing them to export these for a cheaper price and better quality. And the reason that why every country doesn't just start producing semiconductors and chips is because they know that once the shortage is over, their markets will basically collapse, because the countries that had the comparative advantage will be so good at making these and will be able to export these for cheaper prices and better quality that their markets will basically collapse. Therefore, this shows the true power of comparative advantage. Concluding my video. Thank you for watching.